Anyway, thanks so much for taking time to speak with me today. I watched some episodes and wow, you guys have huge chemistry. And I couldn't feel for both of you in the relationship department. So my first question for you is, what drew you to this story and project? Let's start with Jackson, since he's the controlling one.
Oh.
Stephanie.
You're giving him what he wants.
Oh, no. Let's start with Grace then.
Take it.
Okay, fine, I'll take it. I loved the idea of a traditionally written antagonist or anti-hero, whatever you want to call it, and then dissecting that and seeing the vulnerable, anxious parts of that and what really is behind that and where that comes from. And I knew that this was that kind of story. I knew that it was going to be easy to write him off as this very unlikable, toxic force in Lucy's life. But I knew that throughout a season, we were going to get to actually see where he comes from, what's going on, who is this guy. And that was the fun part as an actor. I was just so excited that I got to actually put that much work into a character like this. And also it was a great pilot. And there was a book attached. And I don't know. Oh, and then Grace was there. Grace was already attached, and I wanted to work with her so bad.
Wonderful. Grace.
Yeah, it is true. Like all this what could be stereotypical characters, college characters, are all debunked as you get to know them. Like,
right.
Because they're written so deeply and so thoroughly that everyone feels like a real person and feels like somebody you've known. And I really love that. And especially Lucy being the protagonist and not being super likable, which is very rare. When you're watching a show, you are usually liking and rooting for the protagonist. Whereas sure, you like Lucy in the beginning, but she gets just as dirty as Stephen does. And she's very relatable, but she's not super likable, and in a way that just feels authentic to me, because especially at that age, you're grasping for things and you're experimenting and you're hurting people because you're not being honest with them. And I just think everyone can relate to that.
Right. So tell me, what are some of the things you liked about your character and didn't like about your character, Grace?
I mean, I have such a love for her, and I really root for her when I'm watching the show, because I just want to shake her and tell her to be honest with the people around her and communicate, because then none of these problems would have ever happened. But I feel for her because I relate to being closed off when I was younger and being afraid to be vulnerable. So I really understand that, but I don't think there's any part of her that I don't like. I definitely sympathize with her.
Great. How about Jackson? You?
I love him, every part of him. I think he's perfect.
Wow, that was easy.
I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding. He's so complicated. I love that he's a problem solver. I hate how he solves the problems. Like, I love that he's constantly thinking about how to get out of a situation. He's a survivalist. I think that's really cool and fun to play, but I hate the way he goes about things. I hate the way he treats people. I hate the way he doesn't internalize everything, and he does internalize, he doesn't externalize anything. He just kind of moves on and doesn't process. And it's kind of the opposite of the way I want to be. That makes me, like, when I'm suffering the most, I think it's because I'm not looking at something. And this is someone who has never looked at anything and always just gone outward with everything. So he just must be in so much pain. And that's what's fun to play. That's what I like about him.
Well, they're both very complicated characters, and you guys had me like glued to the screen. You know, I was saying some words to the screen at different scenes, but really great job. I'm excited for our audience to watch it and see you again in some other wonderful projects.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the sunset.